prescribe that, and then all of a sudden, seemingly out of nowhere, this beautiful piece of jewelry unearths, and everybody's wearing them either for cosmetic purposes or to express culture or to establish, a leadership structure of some sort. So, where did it go for all those years? Because this is an important piece of who we are.
It really is an important part of our history. First of all, I did not uncover these things. I'm an ethnographer and oral historian, so I interview people who are archaeologists who discover these in grave sites primarily. And so the first sinahi that I saw was in Saipan. It was the only sinahi in a grave site among other artifacts. And so I asked, the first one I saw was much more dense. This is a hema shell, tridacna, and polished down and everything. So it's more like a modern jewelry piece. But the sinahi that I saw is denser, it was heavier. I would not be able to wear it. I think you were talking
about. Those can get quite heavy.
It's pretty heavy. Now, we read into the symbolism, we read into what they were and who wore them. And so, I look forward to Judy's presentation because she's been working on this and she's been traveling to speak about this topic. So one thing that we want to establish is that the Gualafun, the moon has 8 phases, and it literally takes 29.53 days to complete one cycle to the next. So from new moon to new moon, it's that many days. And they call that a lunar month. So in those 8, you go from the new moon, which you can't see because there's no sunlight, to the crescent and further, right, the slivers. So when you get to those different phases, the symbolism that we seem to attach culturally, the Chamorro nation, is the Golafun for the women and the Sinahi for the men.
I was going to say, there is that distinction to be made between the genders about who wears what piece. And there is a little bit of confusion, again, from my generation on that. Like there are different colors of them made of different, the spondylus is very, very popular.
Okay, spondylus is different from this, It's the spondylus is from a spondylus shell, and they carve it down and they use them in beads. And so initially they had the Guinahan Famaguan, and the Guinahan Famaguan was a cylinder carving of the turtle shell. But in time, they changed some of that and started to use body ornamentation with the spondylus shells. So these are all, resources that we have available to ourselves here on the island. And so they used it to decorate themselves, which is not uncommon with jewelry. So today, this is not a white shell if you look at it. There are imprints, or I don't even know what to call them, but it's not a solid white piece. So like the moon, it has different stages. When you look at the moon, you see different shades of it.
The piece you're wearing is absolutely beautiful.
It's beautiful,
it's
right?
shiny, it's got a nice finish.
Well, Jill Benaventi made this for me.
Very nice.
I've been.
Thank you, Jill. That's beautiful work.
Yeah, I've been apprenticing under Jill.
Very
so one
nice.
day I hope to make this. But this is something she has been wanting me to wear. And when before I came here, I was going to wear Spencer's a sinahi that we got him when he was a little boy, about 8 or 10. And she said, "Oh, no. That's a male symbol." So today we are inferring that the sinahi is for the men and the Golafun is for the women. So I asked her, why? Why is this a female symbol? And she said, because women are the only ones that can complete the cycle, which kind of makes sense, right?
The more dominant gender, of course.
Yeah, we go cycle to cycle.
Now, may I ask something? And one thing that I've always appreciated about your research is the fact that you take it and you present it to different generations. To be respectful to the Manamko and just say,
Sure.
I've found this may be a little controversial to you, but I'd like your feedback. Is the way the sinahi being used by our culture right now, especially young people, how do the older generations receive that? And again, it's used as ornamentation right now. It's used on T-shirts a lot. People draw it. It's used as bumper stickers and everything like that. Are older generations proud of this new knowledge about heritage, or are they like, it's one of those things that's kind of a touchy subject because it may be used as a symbol of leadership or a virility or something like that?
Well, Judy mentions that the sinahi is today interpreted as a symbol of power or leadership, right? And that's her interpretation, which is the same as this. This is Jill's interpretation, and the reason that we can honor that is because we really don't know who wore it. but we know that we want to bring it back. So we're not changing history, we're really reclaiming it maybe, or reinstating it into what we do and how we represent ourselves.
They put a big sinahi on Chief Kapua, didn't they not?
Somebody did, yes. Yeah. And the first one I think was stolen or broken. I don't know who would want to wear something like that, like from shoulder to shoulder.
I think they
It
did
was
on
huge.
FestPac. They
Oh, you're
may
kidding.
have put one on there.
Well, so going back to the question, how do the Manamco feel? I've spoken to Manamco, and Manamco are very accommodating. They think that we go through phases, and so they're humored by our need to identify in such ways. So just like in language, they don't tell us that we can't speak Chamorro anymore or that we shouldn't speak a certain way. They allow us to define how we're going to do that. Or like activism, they don't think that that's culturally correct, but at the same time they tolerate it. They allow them and let them do it if that's what they want to do. But they'll guard their own family members. I mean, even activists, you'll hear them say, well, as time has gone, other family members are saying, I'm glad you're doing that because I could never do that. And so there is still that cultural dictate that we don't do the affront. That's just not Chamorro, right? But in time, and things where, I mean, there are good causes to be out there and to stake a claim, but culturally speaking, the Manamco don't say don't do it, just like they didn't say we don't want self-determination, just like they don't say, don't go there. They allow us to do it because that's how we're defining ourselves.
I guess there is a difference between, cultural awareness in terms of progress and just revisionist history, just to be,
Exactly.
to try and like destroy everything that you grew up knowing just because you want to make your own place in the world.
That makes no sense.
Exactly.
I mean, like I think I shared with you when Miley was 3 years old and she said, I don't want to be Austrian anymore. And I said, oh, well, then when we get home, you tell Daddy to pack his bags and leave. And she looked at me stunned and said, why? I said, because he's Austrian. If you don't want him around, if you don't want to be that, then you're going to have to ask him to leave. So we don't think about what we really are saying when we say those things. You cannot erase our past, but you can redefine yourself going forward.
Well, certainly this is a fascinating topic, and
Please
we
come
want
out.
everybody to go.
Yes.
When is it and where?
It is next Tuesday, the 21st. The doors open at 6 o'clock at the lecture hall, and it starts at 6:30 on time.
All right. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
We will see you there.
Nice to be back.
And we will see you on the flip side of this break. Please stay tuned.